Still hanging on to that silly date? Isaac's words cut through me like a knife as I stared at the anniversary card I'd spent hours designing. I'm Palmer, a graphic designer who apparently can't design her way into her husband's priorities. The morning had started with such promise. I'd woken up early to prepare Isaac's favorite breakfast: blueberry pancakes with real maple syrup, crispy bacon, and freshly squeezed orange juice. The dining table was set with our wedding china, and a small wrapped gift sat beside his plate. "Honey, I made breakfast." I called up the stairs, my heart racing with anticipation. The sound of his heavy footsteps told me he was rushing, as usual. "Can't today, Palmer. Big meeting with investors." Isaac appeared at the bottom of the stairs, adjusting his tie. He grabbed his briefcase without even glancing at the table. "Why'd you go through all this trouble? You know I have early meetings on Thursdays." I stepped between him and the door. "It's our anniversary, Isaac. 7 years today." That's when he said it. That's when he dismissed 7 years of marriage as a silly date. I watched him drive away through our living room window, the breakfast growing cold behind me. My phone buzzed. A text from Jolie. "Happy anniversary, girl. Did Isaac love the surprise breakfast?" I couldn't bring myself to respond. Instead, I snapped a photo of the untouched table setting and sent it to her. The phone rang immediately. "Oh, hell no," Jolie's voice crackled through the speaker. "Tell me he didn't." "He did." I started clearing the plates, phone wedged between my ear and shoulder. "You know what's funny? Last week he remembered the exact date he closed his first major business deal. 5 years ago. Come to my office, now." Jolie's tone left no room for argument. "Bring the card you made him, and Palmer, don't you dare throw it away." I grabbed my purse and the card, leaving the dishes in the sink. As I drove to Jolie's marketing firm, memories of previous anniversaries flooded back. Year 1, Isaac had a conference. Year 2, client dinner. Year 3, forgot entirely. Year 4, promised to make it up to me. Year 5, business trip. Year 6, fell asleep at his desk. And now year 7, silly date. Jolie was waiting outside her office building, arms crossed. "Remember when we were in college?" she said as I approached. "And you created that guerrilla marketing campaign that went viral? The one about campus safety?" I nodded, confused by the sudden change of subject. "The university implemented new policies because of it. Why?" She grabbed my arm and pulled me inside. "Because, my dear friend, you've been using your talents to make anniversary cards for a man who doesn't deserve them. It's time to think bigger." "What do you mean?" "I mean," Jolie's eyes sparkled dangerously. "You're a brilliant graphic designer with a story to tell, and I'm a marketing expert with connections to every Billboard company in this city." My heart skipped a beat. "Jolie, no." "Jolie, yes." She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Marco, get your camera ready. We're doing a shoot today." I grabbed her phone. "Are you insane? I can't." "Can't what? Can't stand up for yourself? Can't show Isaac what he's missing? Can't remind him that he married an incredible woman who deserves to be celebrated?" My hands shook as I handed back her phone. "His mother would have a heart attack." "Good," Jolie said firmly. "Clara needs a wake-up call too. The way she treats you, like you're some trophy wife who should be grateful her precious son chose you." I sank into a chair, my mind racing. What would I even say? Jolie knelt beside me, taking my hands in hers. "Palmer, look at me. 7 years ago, you were the rising star of our graduating class. Everyone knew you'd do amazing things. Instead, you've been dimming your light to make Isaac shine brighter." I haven't. I started to protest, but the words died in my throat. "When's the last time you showed your work to anyone? When's the last time you took on a project just because it excited you?" The answer hit me hard. Not since the wedding. My phone buzzed. A text from Isaac. "Working late tonight, don't wait up." Something snapped inside me. I looked at Jolie, then at the anniversary card in my hand, the one I'd spent hours designing for a man who couldn't spare 5 minutes to look at it. "Call Marco back," I said, my voice stronger than I expected. "Tell him to bring his best equipment." Jolie grinned. Now that's the Palmer I remember. As she made the call, I opened my design software. 7 years of forgotten anniversaries, of diminishing myself, of watching my dreams collect dust. It was time to put them all on display. Let's see Isaac try to ignore that. Marco's studio smelled like fresh coffee and creativity, a scent I'd almost forgotten. He hadn't changed much since college. Same wild curls, same infectious energy, just with more expensive camera equipment. The prodigal designer returns. He hugged me tight, though I wish it were under better circumstances. Jolie filled me in. Is it crazy? I asked, setting my laptop on his workspace. Tell me honestly if this is crazy. Crazy good, he said, already adjusting his lighting setup. Remember when we used to talk about making waves? This isn't just a wave, Palmer. This is a tsunami. Jolie burst through the door, arms full of coffee cups and pastries. Okay, team, let's brainstorm. How do we make Isaac realize he married a creative genius, not a doormat? Show me your portfolio, Marco said, grabbing his camera. Everything you've done since college. I hesitated. I haven't really. There's the anniversary cards. And? Jolie prompted. And some logos I designed for Isaac's clients. But he presented them as work from his company's design team. Marco nearly dropped his camera. He what? It was easier that way, I said quietly. His mother thought it looked more professional. Clara. Jolie spat the name like it was poison. That woman's been controlling your narrative since day one. Remember your wedding? When she suggested you quit your job to focus on supporting Isaac's career. Stop, Marco interrupted, pointing his camera at me. Palmer, look at me. What would you say to yourself 7 years ago? The question caught me off guard. I don't know. Yes, you do. He started shooting, capturing my confusion, my vulnerability. Tell her what she's about to walk into. Words bubbled up before I could stop them. Run. Take that job offer in Seattle. Don't let them convince you that your dreams are less important. Don't. My voice cracked, and Marco lowered his camera. That's going on the billboard. What? I wiped my eyes. No, I look terrible. You look real, Jolie said, scrolling through Marco's camera. Raw, powerful. This is exactly what we need. My phone buzzed. Clara calling. I declined it. She probably wants to remind me about Isaac's business dinner tomorrow night, I said. The one he forgot was our anniversary for. Perfect timing, Jolie grinned. Because tomorrow night, while they're whining and dining potential investors, the first billboard goes up. Marco pulled up a map on his computer. I've got connections with the advertising company that owns the digital billboard right across from Isaac's favorite restaurant. You're kidding. My heart raced. That's poetic justice, Jolie finished. Now let's design something that'll make him choke on his overpriced steak. For the next few hours, we worked like we were back in college. Marco took photos that captured every emotion I'd suppressed for 7 years. Jolie crafted taglines that were subtle yet devastating. I designed layouts that would stop traffic, literally. What about this? I showed them the screen. The design featured one of Marco's photos, me looking directly into the camera, strength replacing vulnerability, with the text, Happy anniversary, Isaac. Thanks for teaching me my worth. Holy shit, Marco whispered. Too much? I asked. No, Jolie said firmly. Not enough. Add your signature, the one from your college works. And underneath, remember me? I do. My phone buzzed again. Isaac this time. Mother says you're not answering her calls. Don't embarrass me at tomorrow's dinner. I showed them the text. Marco's expression darkened, but Jolie smiled. Oh, you won't embarrass him at dinner, she said. You won't be there at all. I won't? Nope. You'll be at the art gallery opening I just got you invited to. Remember Sierra from my office? The one who's been trying to get you to show your work? My stomach fluttered. Jolie. She's already confirmed your spot. Time to step out of Isaac's shadow, Palmer. While he's trying to impress his clients, you'll be networking with people who actually value creativity. Marco looked up from his computer. Billboard's booked. We go live at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Reality crashed over me. This is really happening. Having second thoughts? Jolie asked. I thought about the cold breakfast, the missed anniversaries, the dreams I'd packed away. No, but I am having one thought. What's that? I opened my design software again. We're going to need more than one billboard. Marco laughed. Now that's the Palmer I remember. Speaking of remembering, Jolie said, pulling out her phone. Let me show you what Sierra's been up to. She's got some ideas that'll make these billboards look like just the beginning. As Jolie pulled up Sierra's Instagram, I felt something I hadn't in years. Excitement. Real, pure, creative excitement. Isaac wanted me to remember my place? Fine. I'd remember exactly who I was before I let them convince me to forget. Sierra turned out to be nothing like I expected. Younger than me, with electric blue hair and an energy that filled Marco's entire studio the moment she walked in. Finally, she hugged me like we were old friends. I've been telling Jolie for months to bring you to one of our events. Your anniversary cards? Pure genius. Wasted on someone who doesn't appreciate them. I blinked. You've seen my cards? Jolie shows them to everyone. Sierra pulled out her tablet. But that's just the beginning. Wait until you see what we're planning for the gallery opening. The tablet displayed a series of mock-ups. My designs reimagined as massive art installations. My anniversary cards transformed into social commentary on modern relationships. The imagery was bold, unapologetic, beautiful. This is, I started. You, Sierra finished. The real you. Not Isaac's wife, not Clara's daughter-in-law, just Palmer, the artist who's about to set this city on fire. My phone buzzed. Clara again. Answer it, Jolie said. Put it on speaker. I did. Palmer, dear. Clara's voice dripped with false sweetness. I've been trying to reach you all day. You know how important tomorrow's dinner is for Isaac. Yes, Clara, I know. Then you'll wear the blue dress I bought you, the one that doesn't draw too much attention. And please do something with your hair. That new style is so artistic. Marco snorted. Sierra raised an eyebrow. Actually, I said, surprising myself with my steady voice, I won't be at dinner tomorrow. Silence. Then, excuse me? I have a prior commitment, an art gallery opening. Palmer, dear, we've discussed this. Your little hobby is my career, I cut in. The career I put on hold 7 years ago. Goodbye, Clara. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but Sierra high-fived me. Perfect timing, she said, because wait until you see where else we're putting your work. She pulled up a map of the city. Red dots appeared everywhere. Billboards, bus stops, building projections. We're calling it the Anniversary Project, Jolie explained. A citywide art installation about love, loss, and reclaiming your identity. But how? I gestured at the map. This must cost a fortune. Remember that viral campaign you did in college? Marco asked. The one about campus safety? The dean's daughter saw it. She runs the city's largest arts foundation now. When Sierra showed her your concept, she funded the whole thing, Sierra finished. Plus, half the locations are donating their space. Your story resonates, Palmer, more than you know. My phone buzzed again. Isaac. Mother's upset. Fix it. Sierra read the text over my shoulder. Oh, we'll fix it all right. Show her the next design. Jolie pulled up another mock-up. This one showed a series of text messages. Every dismissive, controlling message Isaac and Clara had sent me over the years, arranged like a work of art. Too much? Jolie asked. I thought about breakfast getting cold. About 7 years of fix-it texts. About Clara's blue dress that doesn't draw attention. Make the font bigger, I said. Marco laughed and started adjusting his camera setup. Ready for the next shoot? I'm thinking something that'll really pop on that billboard by Isaac's office. His office? My stomach lurched. That wasn't part of the plan. Plans change, Sierra said. Like your dinner plans tomorrow. The gallery opening isn't just an opening, it's your debut. Every art critic in the city will be there. Along with half of Isaac's business circle, Jolie added. Turns out a lot of them follow Sierra's gallery. My phone buzzed one more time. A group text from Isaac to his business partners. Dinner tomorrow, 8 p.m. Bringing my wife. She'll be on her best behavior. I showed them the text. Oh, honey, Sierra said. He has no idea what's coming, does he? Speaking of coming, Marco called from his computer. Clara just posted on Facebook about tomorrow's dinner. Tagged you in it. We gathered around his screen. There was the post. Looking forward to a lovely evening with my son and his supportive wife. Supportive wife? Sierra scoffed. More like suppressed artist. Not anymore, I said, opening my design software. Marco, get your camera ready. Jolie, call your Billboard contact. Sierra, how do you feel about adding a few more locations to the map? Sierra's grin was wicked. I thought you'd never ask. As we worked, I felt lighter than I had in years. Tomorrow, while Isaac ordered wine and Clara adjusted her pearls, my art would light up the city. My truth would be impossible to ignore. Let them try to make me wear the blue dress now. The gallery hummed with anticipation as Sierra led me through the final preparations. My work covered every wall, 7 years of anniversary cards transformed into powerful statements about identity and marriage. Each piece told a story, not just mine anymore. "They're starting to arrive," Sierra whispered, peeking through the curtain, including some familiar faces. I glanced out. Aiden, Isaac's business partner, stood examining one of my pieces, the breakfast photo from yesterday, blown up and overlaid with text messages. "Palmer," he spotted me. "This is unexpected." "Life's full of surprises," I said, channeling confidence I didn't quite feel. "Isaac's at dinner with clients," he said carefully. "Does he know about this?" Before I could answer, my phone lit up with Jolie's text, "Billboard going live in 5. Get ready." "He's about to," I replied to Aiden. Sierra appeared at my elbow. "Palmer, the art critics are here, and you might want to see this." She held up her phone, showing Clara's latest Facebook post. "Wondering where my daughter-in-law is? Certainly not supporting her husband at this important dinner." Perfect timing. Jolie burst through the door, because in exactly 2 minutes, the gallery crowd suddenly shifted. People pulling out phones, pointing through the massive windows. Across the street, the digital billboard flickered to life. My face appeared, 20 feet tall, looking directly into the camera. Beneath it, my message to Isaac glowed against the night sky. The gallery erupted in murmurs. "Holy shit," Aiden whispered. My phone exploded with notifications. Isaac calling, Clara calling, unknown numbers. I silenced it. "That's just the beginning," Sierra announced to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Anniversary Project, a citywide installation about love, loss, and liberation." Cameras flashed, art critics scribbled in notebooks, and through it all, my phone kept lighting up with messages I refused to read. "Palmer," Aiden touched my arm. "Isaac's going to what?" I turned to face him. "Forget about it like he forgets our anniversary? Dismiss it like he dismisses my career?" "You don't understand. There are investors at that dinner. His mother is probably having that heart attack she's been threatening me with for 7 years, I finished. "Good." Marco appeared with his camera. "Ready for the next phase?" I nodded. Outside, more billboards were coming to life across the city, each one displaying a different piece of my story, my art, my truth. "Ms. Palmer," a art critic waved her notebook. "Is this a commentary on modern marriage or a personal statement?" "Both," I said, finding my voice. "It's about remembering who you are when everyone else tries to make you forget." More questions followed, but Sierra's urgent tap on my shoulder caught my attention. She pointed to her phone, a live social media feed. People were posting photos of the billboards, sharing their own stories of lost identity and reclaimed power. "It's trending," she whispered. "Your hashtag is trending." Then came the text from Jolie. "Isaac just left the restaurant. Clara's having a meltdown on Facebook Live." "Palmer." Aiden's voice was urgent now. "Let me help. I can talk to him. Explain." "Explain what?" I gestured to the walls around us. That his wife remembers how to speak, that she remembers who she was before his mother picked out her clothes and his schedule dictated her life. A commotion at the gallery entrance drew everyone's attention. Clara stood there, face flushed, designer purse clutched like a weapon. "What have you done?" she hissed, storming toward me. Sierra stepped between us. "She's done exactly what you taught her, Clara. She's supporting her husband by showing him exactly what he's about to lose." The gallery fell silent. Clara's face went from red to white. "You ungrateful," she started. "Talented," Sierra cut in. "The word you're looking for is talented. The New York Times critic just tweeted about her work. The Arts Foundation wants to fund her next project. And your son? He's about to learn what happens when you take someone for granted." My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Isaac. "We need to talk." "No," I typed back. "We needed to talk 7 years ago. Now I need you to look up, look around, see what you've been missing. Happy anniversary, Isaac." I turned to Sierra. "Show me where you want me for the interviews." As I walked away, I heard Clara's sharp intake of breath, heard her dialing Isaac frantically. But for the first time in 7 years, I didn't turn around, didn't try to fix it, didn't smooth things over. Instead, I stepped into the spotlight Sierra had arranged, faced the cameras, and finally told my own story. Behind me, through the gallery windows, my face continued to shine across the city. Impossible to ignore, impossible to dismiss, impossible to forget, just like me. The morning after the gallery opening, I sat in Jolie's office watching my story explode across social media. The anniversary project was trending nationwide, and my inbox was flooded with messages from women sharing similar stories. "Look at this," Sierra said, scrolling through her tablet. "3 major galleries want to feature your work, and the morning shows are fighting over who gets to interview you first." My phone buzzed. Another text from Isaac, his 20th since last night. "Please come home. We can talk about this." "Don't you dare," Jolie warned, seeing me stare at the message. "Not until he realizes what he's done." A knock at the door made us all jump. Aiden stood there, looking exhausted. "Can we talk, Palmer? Privately?" Jolie crossed her arms. "Anything you need to say to her, you can say in front of us." He sighed, closing the door behind him. "Isaac's a mess. He spent all night trying to damage control with the investors, but your billboards, they're everywhere. Clara's threatening legal action." "For what?" Sierra scoffed. "Telling the truth." Aiden hesitated. "For using company resources without authorization." I sat up straighter. "Excuse me?" "The logos you designed for Isaac's clients. Clara's saying you stole company time and resources." "Those were my designs," I said, my voice shaking. "Designs Isaac presented as his company's work." "I know." Aiden pulled out his phone. "That's why I saved these." He showed us his screen, emails from Isaac, taking credit for my work, dating back years. "I always wondered why the design team he claimed to have never seemed to exist," Aiden said. "Now I know why." Sierra grabbed his phone, forwarding the emails to herself. "This is perfect. Not just for legal protection, for the next phase." "Next phase?" Aiden looked worried. "You didn't think we'd stop at billboards, did you?" Jolie grinned. "Palmer, show him the magazine spread." I opened my laptop, displaying the layout Sierra's contacts had helped design. My story, my art, and now proof of Isaac's deception, all laid out in glossy pages. "It goes to print tomorrow," Sierra said. Unless what?" Aiden asked. "Unless Isaac wants to tell the truth himself. About the designs, about everything." My phone buzzed again. Clara calling. I declined it. "They're at your house," Aiden said quietly. "Isaac and Clara, they're waiting for you." "Good thing I'm not going there," I replied, turning back to the magazine layout. "Palmer," Aiden started. "No," I cut him off. "For 7 years, I went where they wanted. When they wanted. Not anymore." Sierra's phone chimed. "Oh, this is interesting. Someone just sent me security footage from Isaac's office building. The day he presented your logo to that tech startup. It shows him practicing the presentation, claiming he spent weeks perfecting the design." My hands clenched. "Send it to me." "Palmer," Aiden tried again. "He loves you. He's just lost," I suggested. "Confused? Sorry? Save it, Aiden. I've heard it all before. Usually right before he forgets another anniversary or lets his mother pick out another personality-killing outfit for me to wear." A commotion in the hallway drew our attention. Clara's voice carried through the door. "I know she's in there. Palmer, come out this instant." Jolie moved to block the door, but I stopped her. "No, let her in." Clara burst in, designer handbag swinging like a weapon. "Do you have any idea what you've done? The investors are questioning everything. Your childish little art show has put years of work at risk." "My work," I corrected her. "Those designs were my work. Work that Isaac claimed as his own. Work that you dismissed as a little hobby." "How dare you?" "No," I stood up. "How dare you, both of you, treating me like some accessory to Isaac's success? Well, guess what? The accessory just became the main event." Sierra held up her tablet, showing Clara the magazine layout. "Going to print tomorrow. Care to comment?" Clara's face went pale. "You wouldn't. Watch me." I turned to Aiden. "Tell Isaac he has until midnight to come clean about the designs. After that, the magazine runs as is." "And the security footage?" Sierra added sweetly. Clara grabbed her phone, presumably to warn Isaac, but froze when she saw her screen. "Something wrong?" Jolie asked. "The Arts Foundation," Clara whispered. "They're pulling their funding from our charity gala. They say they're redirecting it to..." To the anniversary project, Sierra finished. Funny how karma works, isn't it? Clara staggered back, clutching her designer bag like a shield. This isn't over. You're right, I agreed. It's just beginning. As Clara fled the office, my phone buzzed one final time. A text from Isaac. I'll tell them. Everything. Just please, come home. I showed the message to my friends. Well? Sierra asked. Will you? I looked at the magazine layout, at the billboards still shining across the city, at the years of stolen credit documented in Aiden's emails. No, I said. I'm exactly where I need to be. Isaac's press conference was scheduled for 2 p.m. I watched from Sierra's gallery, surrounded by reporters and cameras, as my husband stepped up to the podium outside his office building. He looks terrible, Jolie whispered. He did. His usual perfectly pressed suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled. Clara stood behind him, lips pressed into a thin line. My name is Isaac, he began, voice shaking, and I need to make a confession. The reporters leaned forward. Cameras clicked. The design work that my company has been praised for over the past 7 years. It wasn't created by a team. It was all done by one person, my wife Palmer. The gallery erupted in murmurs. Sierra squeezed my hand. I took credit for her work, Isaac continued. I presented her designs as my company's property. He looked directly into the cameras. I stole her talent to build my success. Mr. Isaac, a reporter called out, why come clean now? Clara tried to step forward, but Isaac waved her back. Because my wife reminded me what integrity looks like, he said. If you've seen the billboards across the city, you've seen her work, her real work, not the watered-down versions I claimed as my own. My phone buzzed, messages flooding in from Isaac's clients, some angry, some supportive, all wanting to talk to the real designer behind their brands. Palmer, Isaac spoke directly to the cameras again. I know you're watching. I know saying sorry isn't enough, but I want you to know I see you now. I really see you. Too little, too late, Jolie muttered. Clara suddenly grabbed the microphone. This is ridiculous. Palmer, if you're watching, think about what you're doing to this family. Family? I said loudly, making everyone in the gallery turn. You mean the family that made me hide my talent? That treated me like an employee instead of a wife? That family? Sierra nodded to the tech team. Suddenly, my voice boomed through speakers outside Isaac's building. They'd patched me through to their sound system. Isaac spun around searching for me. Palmer. 7 years, Isaac. 7 anniversaries where you couldn't spare me 5 minutes. But you had time to practice presenting my work as yours. The security footage started playing on the billboard behind him. Isaac practicing his presentation, claiming my designs. Clara coaching him on how to present them. Palmer, please, Isaac begged. Come home. We can fix this. Fix what? My voice cracked. My broken spirit, my stolen career, the years I can't get back. Clara lunged for the microphone again. You ungrateful! Enough! Isaac shouted, shocking everyone into silence. Mother, stop. Just stop. He turned back to the cameras. Palmer, you're right. I can't fix the past, but I can do this. He pulled out a folder. These are the contracts for every design you created. I'm signing over all rights to you. They're your work. They should be in your name. The reporters went wild. Clara looked like she might faint. And one more thing, Isaac continued. The anniversary cards. The ones you made every year that I never appreciated. I kept them all. They're the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I didn't deserve a single one. Sierra touched my arm. Want to go down there? I shook my head. Not yet. Palmer. Isaac's voice broke. Remember our first date? When you showed me your portfolio and I said you were going to change the world with your art? I was right. I just never thought you'd have to fight me to do it. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but my voice stayed steady. You know what the worst part was, Isaac? Not the stolen credit, not the forgotten anniversaries. It was watching you and Clara decide who I should be, without ever asking who I was. The crowd outside his building had grown massive. Phones recorded everything. Social media was exploding. I know, he said softly, and I'm so sorry. For everything. Clara stepped forward one last time. Isaac, think about the investors. No, Mother, he cut her off. I'm done thinking about investors. I'm thinking about my wife, the artist. the woman I fell in love with, the one I lost by trying to make her into someone else. He looked straight into the camera. Palmer, if you're willing, I'd like to meet her again, the real her. No expectations, no demands, just coffee, whenever you're ready. The gallery fell silent, all eyes on me. Sierra pulled up the magazine layout on her tablet, the one set to expose everything tomorrow. Your call, she whispered. We can still run it. I looked at Isaac on the screen, my husband standing in the wreckage of his carefully constructed image, finally telling the truth. Palmer? His voice was barely a whisper now. Please say something. I took a deep breath and leaned into the microphone one last time. Okay, Isaac. Coffee. But this time, I choose where we meet. I chose the small coffee shop where we'd had our first date, back when I was still just a promising young artist, and he was a businessman who claimed to love my ambition. Isaac was already there when I arrived, sitting at our old table by the window. You look different, he said as I sat down. I'm wearing my own clothes, I replied. Not Clara's pics. He winced at his mother's name. She's taking some time away, going to visit her sister in Florida. Running away, you mean? Palmer? No, I cut him off. If we're doing this, we're being honest. Complete honesty, Isaac, starting with why you really married me. He stared into his coffee. I married you because I loved you. Did you? Or did you love the idea of me? The talented artist who could help build your brand, but only if you kept her safely in the background? That's not, he stopped, reconsidering. Maybe you're right. Maybe I did love the idea more than the reality. But Palmer, the reality of you, it's so much more incredible than any idea. Save the smooth talk, I said. Tell me about the first logo I designed for you. Remember? The one you said was just a favor between spouses? His face flushed. I presented it as mine because Mother said it would look unprofessional to use my wife's work. She said clients wouldn't take me seriously. And that made it okay to steal my work? No, he whispered. Nothing made it okay. The barista brought my coffee, the same order I'd had on our first date. Isaac remembered. Why didn't you ever look at the anniversary cards? I asked. Really look at them? His hands shook as he pulled something from his jacket. This year's card, still unopened. Because every time I saw one, I remembered who you used to be. The fierce, talented woman who wouldn't take no for an answer. And I couldn't face what I'd helped turn you into. Open it, I said. He did. Inside, I'd designed a timeline. Every logo, every design he'd claimed as his own, arranged in a spiral around our wedding photo. This is, he started, my resignation letter, I finished, from a job I never agreed to take. His head snapped up. What are you saying? I'm saying I got an offer. From that art foundation that pulled funding from Clara's gala, they want me to lead their new digital arts program. That's wonderful, he said, and for the first time in years, he sounded sincere. In Seattle, I added. The color drained from his face. Seattle? Where I almost took that job 7 years ago. Remember? The one you and Clara convinced me would be selfish to accept? Palmer, please. We can fix this. I'll make it right. How? I leaned forward. Will you give me back the 7 years I spent dimming my light to make you shine? Will you erase all the times your mother made me feel small? Will you say all the dismissive comments about my little hobby? I'll do whatever it takes, he said desperately. That's the problem, Isaac. You still think this is something you can fix, something you can control, but it's not. I'm not. What do you want from me? He asked quietly. I pulled out my phone, showing him the email I'd received that morning. The tech startup, the one you presented my logo to last month, they want to work with me directly. No middleman, no husband taking credit, just me and my talent. You're really leaving? I already left, I said softly. The moment I stopped letting you and Clara decide who I should be. He stared at the anniversary card, at the spiral of stolen designs. I really messed up, didn't I? Yes, I agreed. But you know what's funny? I should thank you. Thank me? If you hadn't forgotten our anniversary again, if you hadn't dismissed me one last time, I might never have remembered who I really am. I stood up, leaving my coffee untouched. Palmer, he called as I reached the door. Will you ever forgive me? I turned back. Maybe, but first I need to forgive myself for letting it happen. The billboards, he said suddenly. They're still up. Yes. Leave them, he said. Let everyone see your work. Your real work. It's the least I can do. I nodded once, then stepped outside. Jolie was waiting in her car. You okay? She asked as I got in. Through the window, I could see Isaac staring at the anniversary card, shoulders shaking. You know what? I said. For the first time in 7 years, I really am. As we drove away, my phone buzzed with an email from Seattle. Subject line, Welcome to your new beginning. I smiled. Some anniversaries, it turns out, are worth celebrating after all. The Seattle sky was exactly as gray as I remembered from my almost job 7 years ago. I stood in my new office, unpacking my design supplies while Jolie and Sierra arranged my anniversary cards on the wall, not as painful reminders, but as artwork charting my journey. Last box, Marco announced, setting down his camera. Though technically, this one's not for unpacking. He opened it, revealing pristine copies of the magazine. My story, my art, my truth splashed across the glossy pages. They're selling out everywhere, Sierra said, checking her phone. 3 more galleries called this morning. They want to feature the full anniversary project. My phone buzzed. A text from Aiden. Thought you'd want to see this. Attached was a photo of Isaac's office. Where his company's logo once hung, there was now a plaque. Original design by Palmer. He's crediting all your work. Jolie read over my shoulder, every single piece. Palmer? My new assistant poked her head in. The foundation board is ready for your presentation. I grabbed my tablet, but Sierra stopped me. Wait, she said, pulling up a live feed on her phone. You might want to see this first. It was Clara, giving an interview outside her charity gala. The reporter was relentless. Mrs. Swanson, how do you respond to allegations that you helped suppress your daughter-in-law's career? Clara's perfectly composed facade cracked. I thought I was protecting our family's reputation. I was wrong. And the designs she created? The ones your son claimed as his own? Were brilliant, Clara admitted, her voice small. They were all brilliant. I was just too proud to say it. I turned off the feed. Some apologies come too late. Speaking of apologies, Marco said, look who's trending again. He showed me Isaac's latest social media post, a video of him removing every award he'd won using my designs. The caption read, These belong to Palmer. They always did. Palmer? My assistant again. They're waiting. I nodded, gathering my materials. Ready to show them what a little hobby can do? The foundation's boardroom fell silent as I walked in. My billboards were still up across the country, my story still making waves. But this wasn't about that anymore. This was about what came next. Good morning, I said, pulling up my presentation. Let's talk about making art accessible to everyone, not just those who can afford to steal it. The board members chuckled. They'd all read the magazine. Halfway through my presentation, my phone lit up. Isaac calling. For the first time, I didn't feel the urge to answer, to fix things, to make it okay. As you can see, I continued, gesturing to my designs, art isn't just about expression. It's about recognition, about standing in your truth, even when others try to dim your light. The board was captivated. Even my assistant was taking photos. After the presentation, amid handshakes and congratulations, Sierra pulled me aside. The Seattle Art Museum called. They want to commission you for their new wing. Your name, your vision, your terms. I smiled, remembering Isaac's words from our first date. You're going to change the world with your art. He was right. He just didn't know I'd have to break free from him to do it. Back in my office, I found a package waiting. Inside was my last anniversary card to Isaac, the one he never opened, along with a note. I finally looked, really looked, and I saw everything I tried to hide. Your talent, your spirit, your light. I'm sorry I made you choose between being my wife and being yourself. You deserve both. You deserve everything. Isaac. You okay? Jolie asked softly. I pinned the card on my wall, completing the collection. You know what? I really am. Good, Sierra grinned, because we have work to do. Real work. Your work. I looked around my office, at the cards that charted my journey, at the magazine that told my truth, at the friends who helped me find my voice again. Through the window, I could see my latest billboard, no longer an act of revenge, but a declaration of independence. Palmer, my assistant appeared again. The museum directors are here. They want to discuss your vision. I grabbed my tablet, filled with designs that would bear my name and only my name. Coming, I said, then turned to my friends. Ready to change the world? Always, they chorused. As I walked into the meeting room, I caught my reflection in the glass. Not Isaac's wife, not Clara's daughter-in-law, just Palmer, artist, creator, free, and finally, exactly who I was meant to be.